Hello and welcome to Inside Music, episode number 61. I'm your host, James Shotwell, and this is a pretty special episode. When you first start a podcast, you don't get a lot of requests to have certain guests on the show. People don't really know what the show is about, what you plan to do, but once you get into some real conversations, the stuff that you don't normally talk about with strangers, that's when people start asking for more. They know who they want to hear talk about that stuff, and someone that a lot of you have requested is finally on the show today. Our guest this week is Telle Smith, vocalist for The Word Alive. And I might add, The Word Alive has a new album. It's titled Dark Matter, and it arrives through Fearless Records on March 18th. It's the band's fourth studio album, and dare I say, it's their best yet. Dark Matter mixes the progressive rock sound that the band started to explore on Real with the best elements of the metalcore music that helped launch their career in the first place. In this conversation, Tyler, or I guess you call him Telle and I talk about the band's new album, how it came together, their current release tour, and a whole lot more. And it's kind of a funny story how it all came together. We've been trying to make this episode happen for a while, and we finally set a date, February 28th, 2016, for me and Telle to meet in person and talk about everything. And then I woke up on the morning of February 28th, and I was sick. I mean sick. Sick as a dog. So I reached out to the band, and I told them, and the tour manager, Ryan, told me that Telle was actually sick as well, so it was a pretty good thing that I said it might be a good idea if we cancel this interview. Then Ryan came up with the idea of having us talk over the phone, and we decided to run with that instead. So what you're about to hear is me and Telle, both a little under the weather, so our voices sound maybe a little funny at times, talking about everything of The Word Alive. Now, I already told you that Dark Matter comes out March 18th, but it's worth repeating. And if you're not a fan of The Word Alive already, this would be a great time to get in, because Dark Matter is an incredible record that finds the group talking about things that Telle himself never thought they would lay to tape. And it also finds the band kind of reaffirming their presence in the world of music. We talk about this very briefly in the podcast, but there's a time just over a year ago, or around a year ago, when the members of The Word Alive sat down at a table and asked each other if being in a band was what they really wanted to keep doing. You know, they've had a great run. They've accomplished more than a lot of alternative bands ever even hope to accomplish. And looking at album number 4 as being a possibility, they wondered if it was time to call it quits while they were still ahead. They thought about it, they talked about it, and ultimately they decided to keep going. They decided to keep making music, and we are all lucky because of it. Before we get to the conversation, I need to tell you about a few quick things. First and foremost, South by Southwest, the world's largest music festival and conference, is taking place in March in Austin, and we are going to be there. Yes, I'm going to be there with Inside Music as well as for Holics, and on Friday, March 18th, the same day the new Word Alive album arrives, Holics has a panel at South by Southwest from 2 to 3 p.m. Central Time on the topics of digital distribution and the current war on piracy. I'm going to be there along with a few former guests from Inside Music, and we are going to talk everything you need to know about digital music in 2016. Secondly, you need to be following the show on Twitter. There's no excuses at this point. We just crossed 200, which is not a ton of followers. I'm proud of it, and you should join in on the fun. It's at Inside Music Pod. That's at Inside Music Pod. You should also be following along on our blog, haulicsdaily.com, HAULIX where we keep resources for aspiring musicians and music industry professionals about the realities of life in this business. Whether you want to know the right way to pitch an editor for a news story or the right way to get your band featured on your favorite music blog, haulicsdaily.com has the answer. And third and last, our sponsor. This episode of Inside Music, as with every episode of Inside Music, is brought to you by Haulics, the music industry's leading digital promotional distribution platform. Whether you're looking to get your music in front of the press or you need a little help fighting piracy, Haulics has the tools you need to succeed. You see, what Haulics does is work with record labels, independent artists, and publicists around the world to share unreleased music with members of the media and the industry at large ahead of a release date in a way that makes it possible to not have to worry about leaks. Should piracy occur, Haulics also has a wide array of tools that make it possible to prevent the spread of those unwanted files online, as well as find the person responsible for the leak. For more information on Haulics and access to a free 30-day trial, visit haulics.com. That's HAULIX.com. And one more time, just for kicks, The Word Alive have a new album, Dark Matter, arriving March 18th. You're going to hear a little music from the album right now before my conversation with Telle, and then you're going to hear our chat. Thank you so much for listening. Please tune in next week, and yeah, enjoy the show.
Waiting for conviction, waiting for connection. Everybody is searching for someone. We're still searching for direction, still trying to
Yeah, so I was gonna come out to the show tonight, but I woke up and I've been like wheezing and hacking all day, and I was like, the last thing I need is to get this guy sick and then have everyone mad at me.
Well, I am already sick, so half the band is. So
Oh no.
you would have maybe been adding to it or whatnot. Or maybe we have the same shit and it wouldn't have mattered. But I appreciate you thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, I was actually gonna do an interview with my pal Hoodie Allen the other night, and he had like the same thing where he's like, "I have like 10 shows in the next 11 days. I can't get sick right now." And I was like, "Well, all right,
Yeah.
we'll just back off." Is being sick on the road just the worst?
It is literally the worst thing.
I can't even imagine. Just cold and miserable, city to city.
Yeah, it's just like my lungs. I can't stop coughing, and I just like, other than this phone call, I'm like pretty much not talking today.
Well, I appreciate it. I'll try to burn through it pretty fast for you.
No worries, bud.
All right. Well, we're gonna talk a lot about the new album, so at least we'll have something interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
I got to hear it. I dig it. I like it, and I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about it with you. I know you haven't really done that a lot yet, so let's get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're still like 3 weeks away from release. I assume you guys play Trap and Sell Out right now on tour. Are you guys playing anything else from the new record?
Yeah, we're playing 7 songs
Holy crap.
off of Dark Matter. We're playing Dreamer, Sellout, Grunge, Dark Matter, Trapped, obviously. We're playing Face to Face, and what is a song that I'm not thinking about? I don't know why I am drawing a blank.
That's okay.
I'll look it up.
One
I'll
extra
look it
one.
up. But yeah, we're playing a bunch of songs.
Oh wow! I know a lot of people when they go into a release tour, they don't know how much to do because they're worried fans won't be into it as much without the new material. But you're just balls to the wall with it.
Yeah, we just believe they're so much better songs than we've ever had before, and it's working. Like, kids are singing along to songs they've never even heard by the end of some of them, and everyone's been pretty much going off for them. Last night in Lawrence, Kansas, surprisingly, was actually the craziest set for like including the new songs. It's pretty mind blowing when you know that this person is just feeling the song, and that's all they have to go off is just how they feel about it.
Yeah, I think this record has a lot of big emotions, and I think it's something that has to translate live really well because it's hard not to connect with the material, even if I'm like, I'm not really sure I come from the same place, but like I get what you're doing and I believe in it. If that makes sense.
Yep.
So I wanted to talk about the singles. Trapped felt like a really logical one for me because it seems to continue what you guys kind of started with Real musically, but Sellout feels a lot more urgent, especially with the video that you kind of released with it. Could you kind of speak to that a little bit, like the message of the song and maybe what you wanted to do with the video?
Yeah, that one's definitely like one of, if not the fastest songs we've ever written, and it has a really cool punk rock vibe to it. When we started writing that song, we knew like it was just going to be a fun live song, and just based off of the sheer speed of the song, I just felt connected to it as more of like a revolution type of song, and that's just what I felt drawn to it as. I just felt like with this record, I wanted to speak on a lot of different topics, but one of the ones that I'm passionate about, that I, am pretty bummed about how things are and have been, is like there's a lack of passion at live shows with, music, and maybe that's because there's too much of it. But regardless of the fact, people are just entitled and not appreciative of what they have. And then you look around, every day, all over the news, it's school shootings, police brutality. It's, you know, this country is getting bombed. You know, this corporation is, you know, corrupt, and or this government official is, like, there's just so much negative shit going on, and it's just like, if we just keep waiting around and don't do anything about it, then obviously it's only going to get worse, and it's going to get to the point where there's just no coming back from it. And maybe we're already there. So I guess that remains to be seen.
No, I like it. I think it's really effective, and I think, you know, I like seeing that come from an artist in your position, because I don't feel like there are a lot of artists in your arena that have really done that just yet, that are really kind of make kids take notice of the world around them in that respect, and be like, you know, we're inching towards a point of no return, possibly.
Yeah.
Getting heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting older, so I mean, I gotta use the time I have left to say some shit that, you know, matters, and that will do something, hopefully.
Yeah, I read somewhere where you said that you felt this album was a really good reflection of who you guys are, more so than maybe anything else you've done in the past. And when I heard the record, the first thing that jumped out to me was that the opening line is, in Dreamer, I've forgotten who I am. And I was wondering, you know, was that intentional to kind of speak to the theme of the record? Is that why that song is at the start of the album? It kind of summarizes where you're trying to do?
There's a couple reasons Dreamer is a start. If you listen to every album that The Word Alive has put out, pretty much the first track always just like kind of hits you in the face and just takes off right away. And we wanted this one the first time, if you put, you know, the CD in your car or whatever, for you to be just instantly like, okay, something different. You know, there's something different going on here. There's something that I didn't expect. And that's actually also what we open up with live on the tour. And it's a really big song. It's actually a lot of our favorite song, just because it's so, I think, different and unique to our band. But lyrically, overall, the song is about, you know, getting to the end of your life, and it's like, you know, an old man that didn't do basically what we're doing right now, which is like just follow the path that we feel like we should be on, no matter what. So there is definitely some of that speaks to the mindset that the band was in when we went in to the studio, because obviously we're still going to be classified as a metal band, you know, overall, I would say, but we really just felt like we kept getting pushed into this box that I don't think we've ever fit in. You know, we've had songs that are quote unquote metalcore-esque songs. We've had songs that are more rock songs. We've had songs that, you know, are more experimental or closer to like alternative metal or just alternative music in general. And so we just wanted to do something that was just a whole album of songs that we would listen to, like that we would be fans of ourselves. And I do, you know, the opening line of I've forgotten who I am, afraid it's too late, is where the band was at, you know, like we almost, it's hard to tell how close we came to breaking up, but it definitely felt like we had the conversation of, hey, if everyone isn't in this 100%, speak up now, and then let's just call it, or let's go in this, you know, 110% with everyone, you know, on the same page. And we haven't been on the same page for years. So, you know, luckily we are friends, and I think that's what's like held it together. And obviously, you know, certain albums and songs have been really successful for our band. So obviously, you know, it's made sense to stay a band, but we've always said from day one, like, we never want to be that band that just kind of plateaus and just kind of like floats around the music scene. You know, we want to be one that comes in and we're, you know, get to a point where it does make sense to, you know, continue to have a career and to be, you know, a progressive band. You know, to me and the rest of the band, if you listen to our albums, every single one is different. You know, some people think certain albums sound similar, it's always funny how, some people are like, oh, well, I love this album because of this, and I love this one because of this. And some person might love that album or hate it for the same reasons. And it's just kind of, our fans are all over the place, I think, now because of the diversity we've kind of always offered. But it's never really felt like a whole album was cohesive to me. And I just think Dark Matter is the most diverse while also remaining the most cohesive album. So I think that combination and just better songwriting and the fact that we took the most amount of time by far we ever have with writing and recording, I think it all, like, and kind of having that, like, desperation of, like, this is it. Like, we have to make the best album of our career now, or there's no point in making an album at all. I think when you put all that together, that's kind of like how we got to the point we did.
I like that. No, that makes a lot of sense to me. What I think is really surprising to me about this album is, as somebody that's listened to everything you've done so far, you kind of get the feeling like you know a lot about you know a lot of your story because you put so much of yourselves into your songs, and then you get to a track like Face to Face, and it's like, wow, he has, like, there's all these other stories that I've yet to hear. Do you feel that's a song you could have written earlier in your career, or is that something that only comes after everything you've been through up to this point as an artist?
It definitely, like, that song in particular is one. I always swore I would never write about my biological father because my dad is like my dad. And obviously I paid tribute to him with Like Father, Like Son. So, but now, I mean, I'm 29 years old. I'm like a grown man, and, I can't hide from the fact that, like, I do wonder, like, just what he looks like and why I am the way I am or why I look the way I look. Those things you don't really think about. You're kind of like in the angst mode when you're younger, and you're just like, oh, well, fuck him. He didn't want to be a part of my life, so I'm not even going to give you, the satisfaction of having a song, whether it's positive or negative at all. But now that I'm older, I realize that, it's important to express myself fully and to, sing about very honest things, because I think that's how you sing the most honestly on stage. We definitely singing that song every night has been awesome because I see people connecting with it, and I, talk to some fans afterwards, and they can totally, like, understand what the lyrics, are about and what they mean from the first time they've ever heard it, and it's in a live setting. So I think that song is going to connect with a lot of people, personally, just based off of the reaction we've had so far. And I definitely don't think that we could have written that song, even on Real, let alone Empire, Deceiver, or Life Cycles. So, we're just at that point where we're all a lot more mature, and we are kind of settled into the kind of people we are and the kind of music we want to make. And I think all that just, has a trickle-down effect.
Yeah. I think that leads in perfectly to what I was going to say next is, I feel like that is true about this album. That's what comes across. And you get to a song right in the middle, you have Made This Way, which almost says what you just said, but set to music.
Yeah.
Which is like, I've gotten to this point and this is who I am. And, I'm not going to be afraid of that anymore. I don't know. There's something about when I got to Made This Way, I don't know, it made the album kind of come together because it does have a reference back to the Forgetting Who You Are.
Yeah. That's the song. I don't know why I couldn't remember. But
that's the other one?
The seventh song, yeah. And that one's probably going off the craziest out of all the songs that people don't know. And it's, with the exception of the lyrics, because I just don't know them yet. I think that song's just going to be definitely one of the top 3 biggest songs on the album. It's actually the next single that we're releasing. So it's I think that one's going to explode. And I think that one's a perfect mix of, like, hey, like, we're not some, like, soft, band now that has just lost our fire and aggressiveness, but there's room for structure and improvement and dynamics and, just the way we portray our band and songs. Like, there's still so much energy to be had, and it just, instead of just individually one person just, like, going off, it's just like, hey, let's as a band go off, and let's do it in a way that it's going to be fun for us on stage every night to play, fun for our fans, to whether you like to mosh, to jump, to clap, to sing. Like, we want an album that has all those things, you know, that you can have just as much fun depending on whatever you're into and whatever reasons you go to a live show. I feel like that song captures like all of it.
I agree. When I heard it, that was the first one where I was like, this is going to have to be a single at some point, especially when it just hits. The chorus just hits so hard.
Yeah, it's actually the first time because, I mean, as you probably know, Fearless got bought by Concord. And when Concord heard the masters, they were actually the ones that started the conversation of like radio. And they were like, this song is too good. And they were like, there's at least 4 songs we will openly be willing to, you know, put in some radio marketing commitments to. And so it just like for me, like having people who, you know, they don't know our band, they don't know where we've come from, they just are listening to the songs and being unbiased, and they're like, hey, there's something really special here that we think a lot of people outside of the spectrum of just, you know, the Warped Tour scene, the metalcore scene, that, you know, these things that we've kind of, you know, been floating around in, that they see a bigger picture for this album and those songs, and that one in particular. Like, they were just like, this has to be a single. You know, they were just like, it just has to be. And that trickled down from them to Fearless, and everyone was just like, yeah, we see it, we hear it, we feel it. And playing it before the album's out is just a testament to how good the song is, because it literally goes off every single night.
That has to be reassuring, especially after that conversation of like, should we keep doing this, to write a song like that and then see it maybe be the next big song of your career.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's between that, like we're closing the set with Trapped before, and we do an encore with Life Cycles, but like literally Trapped is already a bigger song than almost every song we've ever had. And Sell Out, we play it second in the set, and most nights it's sung super loud. There's only been a couple nights where it's been like, okay, this is a new song, they're still getting, you know, used to it and into it, and not everyone's heard it. But it's like, we've never had new songs that after the album's been out that have been reacting as well as these songs, and the album isn't even out yet. So we're very confident that this like is a special album for us, and I think it's gonna take our band to the next level to actually truly give us a career where we can now set our sights towards, okay, how are we going to top this? And it's exciting because, you know, I feel like we were just kind of running on fumes, and just the live shows and our fan base has kind of kept us going. And now it's more like we can all have fun together again and really enjoy it for just our own reasons and our own kind of, you know, selfish wants and needs of, you know, like I want to be playing songs that I love, you know, not just songs that fans love, but stuff that I'm really truly proud of. And that's like the ultimate, you know, level of happiness and success, like in my mind, is when it's not just songs that get big for your band that are enjoyable to fans, but that you love them just as much as those fans do.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, so many artists get to the point where they put out a new album and they end up only ever playing 3 or 4 songs off of it. You're going 7 deep before the album's even out, and people are liking it, which means, you know, moving forward, you can keep playing a lot of new stuff. You don't have to worry about becoming a nostalgia act before you're done becoming a real band. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're like, I still have things to do, and people are like, I know, but play what we know. Like you have fans that are like, give us more.
Yeah, there's definitely some fans, like, you know, that have talked to us, whether it's been at the VIP sessions. We do like acoustic songs, and we have Q&A, and, you know, we talk about the set sometimes, and it comes up and people are like, oh, are you going to play this song? And we're like, no. But, you know, when we get into it and we explain to it, they totally get it and they understand. It's almost like if every band could get their fan base and be like, hey, that one person who yells, and, you know, in the crowd, like, at least for us, it might be like hey, I want to hear Casanova Rodeo, or I want to hear Epiphany, I want to hear whatever. It's like, and then other people are like, yeah, that would be cool, but no one reacts to those songs the way that they do the newer songs and the bigger songs. And it's because the fan base grows every release, which means the smallest your fan base ever was in the beginning. And so, you know, I'm getting food. Vince is sorry, one second. Vince is getting me food. Thank you. So, you know, it's like, realistically, if that's your smallest fan base, is the OG fans, which you need those fans to be able to get those other new fans. But if that's the reality, and then you're talking about those fans are spread out across the entire world, you might have 4 fans out of 1,000 people at a show that are like, I really would love to hear Casanova Rodeo. The other, you know, 900 plus people don't care. You know, they don't want to hear that. I mean, they won't be bummed if they do, but they want to hear the songs that they know. And we try to do a good job of like being aware of a mix of where we came from, but realistically the songs that go over live the best. Because whether it's your favorite song or not, if the entire crowd is singing along and jumping, you're just going to, because it makes you want to be a part of it. Whereas if you're one of 4 people who are really going crazy, it's like that's not going to get the person standing next to you into that song any more than they were before. So to us, it's just like we try to play the hits. To put it like, I guess, very plainly, and it's not like our hits are like platinum selling singles, but they are the ones that we know have the strongest response overall the majority of the time. And that's just what we try to do. We try to please the majority, because once you go down that rabbit hole of trying to please the minority, you know, you just start losing the interest of those fans, that they're like, okay, well, they're not playing the songs that everyone wants to hear. And so, you know, then that can potentially cut your career short by doing that. So we try to balance everything.
Yeah. Well, I think you got it, man. And I know I'm keeping you longer than I promised Ryan I would, so he's probably going to be mad at me. But I appreciate you taking time to talk to me. I just don't want to, you know, we're trying not to keep you sick, man. Got to get you healthy. But I appreciate you taking time to talk to me. And I'm sure we'll have another chance. The album's not out yet, so there's a good chance we'll get another chance to, you know, talk about the rest of the record, dig through it. But you guys have 3 weeks left of this tour. Just about. Yeah, 3 weeks to the album. Then you're going overseas in May. Are you going over with anyone in particular?
No, we actually we had like a lineup that we could have brought over, but what we talked about was because we have a European booking agent. Europe tours it's kind of like when you're headlining, most of the fans are coming for the main support band. They're like, this is their time. You know, like say we come on a support tour, we probably have a lot of fans that will stay home because they just view like headlining sets as like that's where you get your money's worth.
Exactly.
So we're coming over there and we're just putting on bands that are doing really well from Germany, UK, in areas over there where they will basically bring new fans instead of like, say we bring some friends of ours that were touring. Those fans are already our fans, most of them. So it's like it's easier to gain fans over there when you play with bands that are from there, at least at our level. At some point, you know, hopefully it grows to the point where, you know, we can put together an awesome package that it's like we can make it diverse enough that, you know, everyone, it's kind of like a win-win,
Exactly.
you know, for everyone involved. So, but, you know, it's just like when you play overseas, it's very expensive and you want to make sure that, you know, you keep costs down. And obviously if you tie in, the more international bands you have, the more expensive it is. So we just wanted to keep ticket prices as low as possible and just show them the new album. So it's like that's what this tour here and there is just showing the new album. And so that every person who leaves has heard enough of the album that if you hear 7 out of 12 songs and you love it, you're going to love the album. If you hate it, then you're probably not going to like the album. So, but we just want to create that word of mouth. And so it was just like, hey, let's just go, let's play a longer set, let's play as many new songs as we can, and just let people, react to the songs.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with it, man. It seems to be going well for you so far, and I think everyone's gonna love this album, man. I think it's your best yet, and you guys definitely started a change with Real that I think you fully realize on this album, for no pun intended.
No, I love it. I appreciate it.
Okay, so you're hopefully not going to be sick for too much longer. You're on tour for a few more weeks, international tour. I know you haven't announced anything beyond that. Any last thoughts? Anything you want to say about the album that we haven't covered?
Just listen to it, spread it if you love it, and hopefully we'll see you at the next show that we play.
All right, man. You have a great day. Thanks so much for talking with me.
No problem. My pleasure, bud.